And I wanted to share with you the wonderful story, which many of you know, but it's a favorite of mine because it demonstrates this obstacle. And this is Vishnu and Narada walking along. So Vishnu is the Lord, he's God. And Narada is a great sage who has realized God. They're walking along together. And so as they walk along, Narada said, well, I know I've realized you, but there's one question that I have, and that is, why do people why are they so foolish to go for delusion and duality? You know, it just, now that I look back on it, it's so simple. Of course you wouldn't do that. And Narada, Vishnu says, yeah. And they walk on a little bit farther, and they walk into a desert area. And Vishnu says casually to Narada, he says, oh, I'm a little thirsty, Narada, and I see that there's a little village over there in the distance. Would you mind walking over there and getting us both some water? And Narada says, oh, absolutely, Lord. And so he starts trudging across the desert to get to this little village. And so he comes there and he knocks on a door in the village. It's small, knocks on a door, and the door is opened, and it's a young girl, a young maiden, who is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And there's instant recognition. And they just look at each other and they're in love, basically. And so she invites him in, and the water is kind of forgotten at this point. So, and it doesn't take long for the water to be forgotten, keep this in mind. So they start talking, and the parents are there, and they all recognize each other as though they've been together before. And so they're just one big happy family. And so the natural next step is that they get married. And so Narada's there, and he's getting married to this beautiful girl, a fulfillment outwardly, materially, of anything you could imagine. And so they get married, and he starts a little business in the village there, and then they have one child, and then another, and then eventually they have a third child after about 12 years have gone by, the basic 12-year cycle. Anyway, so they're doing really well. Everything looks wonderful. And then there's a river that flows by the village, and up above in the mountains, all of a sudden, that river becomes a raging torrent. And so it comes down unexpectedly. And we've seen this happen in our country. Unexpectedly, whoosh, water comes, it takes away the entire village, the home is washed away. They're able, the family, to walk out with the clothes on their back. And they're walking through knee-deep water. It's not terrible, but knee-deep. But it's strong. And Narada has the wife is with him, and Narada has the 3 children. He's holding the hands of the 2 older ones and the baby on his shoulder. And then he stumbles. And when he stumbles, the baby whoosh, into the water, and immediately, and so he lets go of the other 2 children, and trying to get the baby, who is gone, and the kids washed away. And the mother, looking at this, just says, it's too much. I can't deal with this. And she just lets the water take her. And then Narada, looking at all of this, everything that he has worked so hard for 12 years, is gone in an instant. And he also loses heart, and he lets himself be taken away by the water. And a little time goes by, probably not too long, and he finds him. He starts to wake up, and he thinks, well, where's all the water? I must have been washed onto a little mound here, because there's no water that I can see anywhere. And then he looks, and there's no water anywhere. It's just all sand. And then he hears a voice, And this voice says, Narada? And he thinks, that voice is really familiar. I think I know that voice. And again, the voice says, Narada. And he looks up, and it's Vishnu. And Vishnu just says to him, Narada, I sent you out for water half an hour ago, and here I find you sleeping in the sand. So if you ever wonder how powerful delusion is, this story is told to, fair warning, have very, very careful in dealing with delusion, because it is so very delusive and powerful and overwhelming. And just one little thing, oh yes, let's knock on that door, poof, gone for 12 years.